Okay, so we're going to look at classwork within Google Classroom. I'm going to go into Google Classroom, and I can do this a couple of ways. I can click on my Google Apps. I like to call this a waffle. And click on your waffle, and then you'll locate your Google Classroom app. Or you can also type in at the top classroom.google.com. And the nice thing about this is that anytime you want to get anywhere in Google, you just put the name of that place.google.com. For example, if you want to check your email, you just go to mail.google.com. If you want to go to your drive, it's drive.google.com. So it's anywhere you want to go.google.com. Okay, so now we're in our Google Classroom landing page. And so I'm going to click into my Google Classroom. When I look, it automatically brings me to my stream, but I'm going to go into Classwork. Now, Classwork is where teachers create the materials, the resources, and the assignments for students. Classwork is also listed on the student side, so that's where students will get all their information, and that's where they'll go to get their assignments and turn them in. Now I'm going to just show you the layout of the page first, and then we'll actually get into creating some of the pieces within Classwork. If you look to the left-hand side, you'll see topics listed here on my screen. Now, topics can be created however it makes sense to you as the classroom teacher. So it does not have to look the same as everybody else's. It doesn't, perhaps your team, that would be good to decide together what it would look like. But for example, in my 11th grade U.S. history class, my topics were created by units. So Unit 1 through Unit 13. In lower grades, units may not make sense to the organization of the class. So I've seen younger grades have topics where it's by the week. So they're weekly topics instead. I've seen teachers create topics that are kind of the lesson cycle. So there's a topic for warm-ups, there's a topic for instruction, there's a topic for assignments, there's a topic for spiral review. And so it really can be how it is that you structure your class, but it's a great organizational tool for both you and your students. So I highly recommend. Something else I recommend is creating a help topic so that you could always include helpful resources or websites or post materials for students, or even just give them an opportunity. It could be that you're putting a discussion question into your classroom and it's just like an open question. What do you need help with? And if a student is getting stuck on something, they can quickly type in that question. So it's all about whether you're teaching your students and it's remote instruction, or if you're in the classroom with your students and it's face-to-face instruction, just the opportunity that students can either help themselves, they can find that resource where they're going to get those materials or further instruction that they need, or they have the opportunity to ask you a question. So that is the topics, and I'll show you in just a little bit how you'll create them. Now, if you look here down the middle of my page, each of these topics on the left-hand side are titled in the different sections here. Now, as you go in and create your topics, if you want to switch and move them around, all you have to do is click and drag that topic where you need it to be. And it will change in real time on the left-hand side as well. So I'm just going to move it back because I always like my help topic to be at the top. So here you have the topic title, and then you have all of the materials and assignments for that topic housed underneath them. Now, if you look to the right of the topic of the titles within each of these, you'll notice it'll say whenever it was posted, or if this is an assignment, it'll say due, because as the teacher, I've created a due date for this assignment. Then, if you ever see these little dots, that always means there's some more magic nearby. So I like to call this the skinny snowman, or the three little donut holes, because I have my waffle over here, so that just makes sense. So I'm going to click on my 3 donut holes, and you'll notice some additional options are available. I can rename my topic. I could delete my topic. I could copy that link. So maybe I only need to give people access to just that. And then just how I clicked and dragged my topics a moment ago, you can move this topic up or down, however you choose. Below the topic, into the assignments, you also have those 3 little donut holes there. So that means I could go back and I could edit this post. I could delete it, I could copy the link, or I could move it down within my topic. I could move it around. Just as I could rearrange my topics, I could rearrange the order of my activities beneath my topic. And each of these activities has a little diagram that will indicate and tell me what it is. Now, for my class, I'd like to be sure that I try to lay it out as clear and concise as possible, because I don't want my students to get confused as to what they need to do. So I like to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just so that it indicates to the students. And I tell them this whenever we get into our Google Classroom at the beginning of the year. I explain the layout and the structure of my class. So I say, if you see a number 1 by it, that means you need to do this first, and then go in order. It just helps me stay organized, and hopefully, more importantly, it helps the students. If you notice at the top of the page, there is this post here that's in gray, and it says the title of the material, but over here it says draft. So another great thing about Classwork is that I could go in and I could organize all of my assignments and my files and my materials for the coming week. I like to do it a week at a time and not necessarily a day at a time. So I would go ahead and build out those resources and just keep them in draft mode, or I would have them scheduled to go out at a certain time. Draft mode would always tell me that it would be an indication to me that I needed to go back and complete this activity or assignment because it's not ready to send out to students. If I have it as a scheduled post, that tells me that it is ready to go, and it's going to appear on the students' Google Classwork and my Google Classwork at the time that I designated. But I could go into my 3 little donut holes here and I could select edit to continue working. Or maybe I got started on something and then I decided, we don't really need that activity after all. Or I don't know what I was doing. I already have something, or I found something better to take its place. So you can always delete it, or you can select edit to open it up and continue working. Now, at the top of the page, you as the teacher have the blue create button. Your students won't have a button necessarily, but there will be a link for them to view all the assignments. So that's really helpful in the classroom because the students, they'll see it however you organize it, but this is a one-stop, quick look for them overall to see what assignments they have to turn in. Then over here, I'm going to go back to the create button in just a minute because that's going to have so many other things attached to it. So don't think I've forgotten about it. Over here is the Meet button for Google Meet, and this is If you're not familiar with Google Meet, it's like a video conferencing system. It's very much like Zoom, but it's housed within Classroom. And what's nice about Google Meet is that you as the teacher have to start the Meet. Students aren't able to create a Google Meet to start it, and it only goes to people that are students or co-teachers in this class. So it doesn't go out to everybody. It's class specific. Your Google Calendar, we talked about that in Module 3. But again, the calendar feature is super great to stay organized and to kind of take a look at the week coming up to see what's going on. The Class Drive folder, whenever you create a Google Classroom, Google Drive creates a classroom folder for all of your materials.